Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another YogaX morning practice. It's very lovely to see you guys. So today we'll conclude our 4 months journey through the Brahma viharas, or the wise or mature emotions. We started 4 months ago. It's hard to believe, right? Moving our way through equanimity, and then 3 months ago, compassion, then loving kindness, and then at the moment we have been working with joy during this month. And so today the practice will kind of wrap up that whole beautiful journey through creating our foundation by finding stability and grounding in equanimity, opening our hearts to the world through compassion and loving kindness, and then finding joy ultimately in this grounding that we've created, in this stability, in this open heart, and really beginning to turn those wise emotions outward. And so it's been a very deliberate journey, and hopefully today all of these skills that we've been cultivating will support your practice, which will be a little bit more active potentially than some of our other practices. And so it's a practice of kriyas, and kriyas are yoga movements rather than yoga postures. So we will move a lot, and all of your movement will happen with breath. And you, as the wise yogi, the person who has cultivated equanimity and compassion for yourself and loving kindness, and who has invited joy, you will decide how slowly or quickly you will move through these kriyas. So we will all be on different tempos today, and you will use your own inner wisdom, the compassion you've cultivated for reading your body, the loving kindness you've cultivated for giving your body what it needs, and your breath and your mind. And so you'll be in charge. I will guide you into the movements, but you will be in charge of deciding how challenging you want to make the movement, either by going really slow or by going really fast or taking a moderate speed. And so throughout these movements today, I will give you reminders, but it's a little bit more difficult than in posture practice to give you reminders. But I will give you reminders about grounding through whatever part of you is connected to the ground. So when we're standing, through the feet; when we're kneeling, through the shins, the knees, and the hands or the fists; when we're on our belly or on our back, the parts of the body that are on the ground. I will also remind you about creating stability, so drawing the belly in, drawing the pelvic floor in, engaging those deep inner core muscles we have cultivated. We did especially last week in our inversion practice. And then also finding expansiveness, because that's where joy really lives, right? Is using the stable, grounded body and energy that you've created so that you can actually be expansive as well, and then feeling that in the body. So have those things in your mind as you're also thinking about creating balance between all of those. And so our opening breathing today is not the noisy breathing. The noisy breathing will happen later. But the opening breathing today is called alternate nostril breathing. And there is a hand position that's associated with that. I'll come a little closer to the camera to show this. You can fold your peace fingers into your palm so that then you have access to the thumb and the ring finger. And you can do this on the right or the left hand, depending on whether you're right or left-handed. My mind is such that I will cue for right-handed. If you're left-handed, switch thumb and finger cues. So if I say thumb, use your ring finger. And when I say ring finger, use your thumb. You will use the thumb to slightly depress or close the right nostril. Or if you're left-handed, you would use the ring finger to close the right nostril. And then you will use the ring finger if you're right-handed to close the left nostril, or you will use the thumb if you're left-handed to close the left. And so we will alternatingly breathe through the left and the right nostrils using our fingers to gently depress. And some people prefer to use the finger to close the nostril like this rather than pressing from the side, is to actually plug it from the bottom. I find that a little bit challenging for my ring finger. It works great for my thumb. So I tend to do it like this, but don't do it so much that you're bending your nose, right? Just a really very gentle sort of closing of the nostril. All right. So I will cue you into the mudra once we're ready for it, but to begin with, I invite you to find a comfortable seat. It looks like most of you are there. And then if it feels appropriate for you this morning, I invite you to close your eyes. You can also keep them at half-mast, finding a nice focal point for drishti on your floor, just a few feet ahead of you. And invite yourself to ground into the earth. So feel the places where you make contact with the earth. Letting yourself grow imaginary roots. These roots connect you to the earth. They also connect you to this community that's practicing together right now, to your greater community, and ultimately to all sentient beings. And so allow yourself to feel the heaviness of your body as it settles into the earth, receiving the support of the earth, and building this trusting relationship between your support beneath you and your body. And then as you're inviting this sense of grounding in the body, also invite a sense of stability by finding your core muscles, not in a really strong way here, but just becoming aware that, yes, I can draw my pelvic floor in just a little bit. I can engage my core muscles a little bit, and my seat becomes a little lighter. So I invite you to create that little bit of extra stability through bringing the core into play. And then once you have that grounded, stable posture, you might be able to also invite a bit of expansiveness by imagining the crown of the head drawing toward the sky, creating a little bit of spaciousness between your vertebrae in your spine. And then as the body is stable, grounded, and expansive here, invite the breath to do the same. Invite the breath to become very grounded, receiving air from around you and returning air back outside, exchanging the inner and the outer in a very sort of grounded, receptive manner. Feeling easeful as you breathe in and easeful as you breathe out. Steady and solid. And you might also invite the breath to become very stable, balancing perhaps the length of the inhalation and exhalation. Not in a pedantic way, we won't count or anything today, though you could if you really wanted to, but more in an energetic way, of sort of feeling like, yes, my inhalation and exhalation are balanced. They're maybe approximately the same length. They're moving about the same volume of air in and out. Just accepting a nice stability in the breath. And maybe tapping into a sense of expansiveness in the breath when you inhale, as the belly and the lower rib cage expand to receive the air. And you might notice that as the body and the breath ground and stabilize and find openness, the mind can do the same. The mind too can settle, become grounded and stable without closing down, still being alert and present in this moment. And then from here, I invite you to create the hand gesture that I showed you, bending the middle finger and the index finger into your palm, and then placing thumb and ring finger to your nose. Before you begin to depress either nostril, just take a full breath. And then on your next inhalation, close the left nostril and breathe in through the right. At the top of the breath, you switch. You close the right nostril and you breathe out through the left. You will breathe in again through the left and switch again at the top of the breath, closing the left and then breathing out through the right. And this is the rhythm. You breathe in, you switch sides, you breathe out, and back in through the same nostril. At the top of the breath, you switch sides. So if you ever lose your rhythm, just remember that. The side switching happens at the top of the breath. So in and out on one side, then switch, and so on. Your breath rhythm will be your own. And so work with your own breath, breathing in, switching, breathing out and in through the same side and switching. And as you breathe in this alternating way, you might notice that one nostril is more clogged than the other. It's very natural. We all have different times of the day when one nostril is more active than the other. We don't really notice this until we do alternate nostril breathing. And so if you notice that one nostril is a little bit more closed than the other one, just notice that and accept that that reflects the state of your body in this moment. Alternate nostril breathing increases your volume of breath. With repeated practice, it can reduce blood pressure, and it moves you more into your parasympathetic nervous system. Continue to breathe in, switch, breathe out, and in through the same side and switch. When we breathe alternatingly through the nostrils, we balance our nervous system, we balance our brain. We create both comfort and action. Breathing in through the left nostril is associated with creating comfort and ease and relaxation. And breathing in through the right nostril is associated with becoming more active. Take 2 more rounds of breath, alternating nostrils. And end this practice by breathing out through the right nostril. So the next time you have breathed out through the right, you can release your hands back down. And take another few rounds of mindful breath and just notice if your body feels different. Notice what is happening in the breath. And perhaps also observe the mind for a moment. Just drawing attention to your inner cues. And then you can either have your hands on your thighs or you can draw your palms together at your heart and bow your head to heart center. And from this place of balance, invite an intention to arise for your time on the mat today. Maybe placing that intention in the context of the wise emotions, equanimity, compassion, loving kindness, joy. And with your next inhalation, breathe that intention deep into your body. And with an exhalation, send it out into your community. And then you can release your hands. If they're closed, you can open the eyes and lift your focus. And let's come to standing. That was a lovely stretch that I just saw there on the video. All right, so we will start with a sun breath here, which is basically taking mountain pose and then inhaling the arms up very deliberately on the in breath and breathing the arms down very deliberately on the out breath. Really feel your muscles engage. And so we've had this imagery before where you're pretending that you're moving your arms through some kind of viscous substance like peanut butter or honey or Nutella, just moving up and down with the breath. Feeling that integration of body and breath and inviting the mind into this dance by being very focused on how you're moving. The next time your arms are overhead, keep them there. And then clasp the left wrist with the right hand. And I'm gonna kneel so that you can see me better. You stay standing. And then side bend to the right as you exhale. And with your own breath rhythm, as you inhale, come to center, switch the clasp and exhale to the left. And keep this flow going. Inhaling to rise and switch. And exhaling to lower and rise. It's the same pattern as alternate nostril breathing, where the switch happens at the top of the breath. I love the parallelism of this. And so you can really have this sensation of combining breath and movement here, and of balancing your entire nervous system, just like you did in alternate nostril breathing, in alternate side bending and breathing. Couple more times. And then the next time you have side bend to the left, when you come back to center, stay there. Stretch yourself long. And then lower the arms with an out breath and shake it out. And even as you shake it out, see if you can bring the breath into it. Maybe noticing if you can exhale as the arms go back and inhale as the arms come forward, to begin to really sense into this combination of breath and movement and how that helps anchor the mind. All right. Then from here, we did this last week too. If you were here, we will take a kriya called knocking on the doors of life. And it's the kriya where we bend our knees just a little bit. I'm going to bend mine a lot so you can see me better on the video, but you don't have to bend quite so much. And then it's a slight twisting, exactly. Some of you are already starting. So inhale as you move right and exhale as you move left, so that you're combining breath and movement yet again. And now this is where your own yogic wisdom comes in. You decide how quickly you want to move. You can move with your natural breath, which will be slower, or you can begin to speed up the breath and the movement. And this is where your breath can get a little bit noisy, because you might have, if you begin to move really quickly, a very forced exhalation, almost like a skull cleansing breath or kapalabhati, where you can really hear it. And I will make this sound for you just so you have a sense of what I mean. So you decide the speed that you want to have here. It can be a nice, slow, rhythmic movement, or it can be a very speedy, forceful movement, and you get to decide. And if you did speed up, go ahead and start slowing it down. Slowing down slowly, so not going from really fast to really slow quickly, but letting the body adjust, and then noticing if maybe the arms just want to swing. And ultimately finding stillness with the hands at the heart. And if you feel balanced, maybe even closing the eyes. Noticing and observing your heartbeat at your thumbs as they press against the sternum. Maybe really paying attention to the breath and how it manifests in the body here. And then notice if there is a shift over time in your energy. Is your heart rate recalibrating, restabilizing? Is the breath becoming smooth and easeful again? Just noticing how the body manages to re-regulate after exertion. And maybe very joyfully realizing that, wow, this happens completely on its own. The body is so wise. There was nothing you had to do other than to pay attention, to notice how your nervous system and your body, your breath, your mind re-regulated. Once your nervous system is resettled, release your hands to your side. And we'll take a little side bending Kriya. And again, the inhale will happen on the left and the exhale will happen on the right. So when you dip down to the left, you draw the right hand toward the armpit and you extend the left fingertips toward the floor and you inhale. Then you switch sides, exhaling, pointing the right fingertips toward the floor, bringing the left hand toward the armpit. And so the rhythm goes. Inhaling left, exhaling right. You might begin with a very slow, sweet movement with the rhythm of your natural breath. Inhaling and exhaling easily, gently, naturally. And then if it feels appropriate for your body and your energy, maybe rev this up a little bit and increase both the movement and the speed of the breath. And just like in the prior Kriya, you may end up having a really forceful breath here and a very speedy movement. Or you might stay slow, yogi's choice. What brings you joy? What is compassionate for you in this moment? Where can you stay in a mind that feels equanimity? If you find yourself destabilizing in your feet or your breath, you might be going too fast. And so just notice, stay attentive to your sense of grounding, stability, while you're creating some expansiveness. And if you did speed up, begin to slow it down gradually. And then as the breath slows and the movement slows, maybe the range of motion for the hands and the arms becomes less and less until finally you come back to balance at the center, heart, hands to heart. If you feel sufficiently stable, you can close the eyes. Otherwise, keep a focal point on your floor, a few feet ahead of you. Just stay balanced physically and in your nervous system, energetically. And of course, in your mind. And I invite you once again to draw inward, to pay attention to how your body re-regulates. With kriyas, we deliberately create momentary challenge so that we then have an opportunity to observe our deep inner capacity to not only withstand that challenge in the moment, but to re-regulate physically and emotionally and mentally when the challenge is over. When you feel in balance, you can release your hands to the side. Then go ahead and find your two blocks and have them in front of you. And from here, we will inhale and lift the arms up and exhale to bring them to the blocks into a forward fold. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. The blocks can be on the setting that's most appropriate so that your hands can find a surface when you lower without overly straining the hamstrings. You want to press the hands when you're on the forward, in the forward fold, and then rise up with the inhalation. And then here too, you can begin to move at your own breath speed. You might not have as much variation in this particular Kriya as you did in the other. So your speed here might not be quite as fast. But you might notice that your range of motion changes, that initially the hands needed the bricks in an upright setting, and then maybe the hands can touch the bricks at the medium setting, and maybe ultimately at the low setting, or even no blocks at all. Work thoughtfully and mindfully here. This is a very large change in body position, and you may need to go very slowly to protect your body and your nervous system. Stability in the core is key here. If you want a slightly faster movement, the body might be ready for that now. But again, there's no requirement. If you did speed up, begin to slow down. Last time. And when you return to standing, hands come to the heart and tune inward. Feel your body from the inside out. Become mindful of the sounds inside of you. Maybe you can hear the heart pumping in your ears. And when your nervous system feels rebalanced, release your hands to your side. I will show this next one from the side, but you can stay oriented the way you are. This is called frog kriya. And we will squat. We will begin by squatting in front of our blocks. The hands are resting on the blocks. You will inhale, and then as you exhale, you'll straighten the legs. Inhale to come down, exhale to come up. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And again, you determine the speed here of the movement. Make sure you move from your core. Let the strength of your core lift your torso. If you do this just with your quadriceps, the big muscles in the front of the legs, you will be really sore later today. So let your core muscles help, let your butt muscles help. Don't just rely on the power of your quads to push you up here. And then experiment with your own speed. Again, inhaling as you face up and exhaling as you face down. And if you did speed up, you might want to start to slow down. Taking 3 or 4 more. The next time you're in your forward fold, hands on bricks, legs straight. Feel the roots through your feet. Feel the stability in your core. And then with an inhalation, rise up, hands to heart. Watch with curiosity. Feel your body and your breath from the inside out. Notice if you can feel your heart rate slowing down. Observe the breath as it re-regulates. Equanimity returns to the body, the breath, and the mind. And when you feel rebalanced, you can release hands to your side. You can move your blocks out of the way. And then inhale your arms up. Exhale to fold forward. Come back into a squat. Your legs know what this feels like now. And then release your bum to the floor. This next Kriya too has lots of variability and many variations, so you again get to decide how quickly you go and what range of motion you will pursue here. And it may change, right, as you move along. So this one is called rock and roll. And the starting variation is something like this. You hang onto your legs and you rock back and forth. And then you can become faster. And you can also increase the range of motion where you even let go of the knees and you come all the way up off the ground when you come forward. And the feet go higher and higher in the air as you roll back. And if this looks too worrisome to go so far, your variation could be right here. Or it could even be here. Just rocking and rolling a little bit on the spine. Finding very compassionately what's the right variation for your body in terms of speed and range of motion. And then maybe looking for a sense of joy here. This is a very playful Kriya. It's like being a kid again, right? Just don't roll too far back as you go down. So you don't want to roll onto your head or your neck. You're staying on the shoulders. Forward, you can come all the way to the feet and have lift off. But going back, you want to stay kind and compassionate with your body. Experiment with different ranges of motions if that feels safe and compassionate. And just see where in the Kriya you can find a sense of playfulness and a sense of joy. And then if you did speed up or create a far range of motion, you might want to slow it down and rein it in. Gently and gradually bringing yourself towards stillness again. And when you feel ready, you can roll forward into a seat, bring the hands to your heart, and listen inward. Once again, moving into a deliberate and conscious relationship with your body and your breath and your mind. What are the ripple effects that you're feeling in your body from this movement? How is this Kriya reverberating in your breath? And what was the impact of this Kriya on your mind? And as you're sitting here, grounded and stable, can you notice your body's capacity to re-regulate, to be resilient, and joyful in the face of challenge? And when you feel rebalanced, you can release your hands down on your heart. We will come onto our backs. In this next Kriya, the movement is initially just in the legs. Ultimately, we will bring the arms into it. And your yogi's choice, okay, there are variations. You will alternately bring one leg up at a time with your exhalation. And so you can bring the knee up, exhale, inhale down, other side, exhale, inhale. Or you can do the full leg without the bend in the knee, exhaling up, inhaling down, alternating sides. Again, using to begin with the speed of your natural breath. And then if you would like to add challenge here, you can add the opposite arm. So as the right leg rises, the left arm rises and comes overhead. As the right leg lowers, the left arm lowers. Left leg, right arm. Moving with the speed of the natural breath here, creating additional challenge by either bending or straightening the leg, by either adding or not adding the arms. If this variation is still not enough for you, then as you lift and lower opposite arm and leg, you can also lift the head and then lower the head as you exhale, or as you lower as you inhale. So creating challenge here, not through speed, but through work, the core and the extremities. And if you're starting to feel the effects of this, you can always stop using the movement of the head, or you can begin to bring quiet to the arms, or maybe you begin to bend the knees as you lift and lower. And so letting the challenge decrease gradually here, not through slowing the movement, but through slowly eliminating certain aspects of it. And then gradually let all movement fade. If you're still using the arms, maybe starting by letting the arms rest and just moving bent knees a couple of times. And then at some point, let yourself rest, bringing the hands to the belly. And once again, tuning in to your body and your breath and your mind from the inside out. How are you still feeling this Kriya in your body? What sensations are present? How is this Kriya reverberating in your breath? And how did this Kriya affect the mind? And as you watch your body, your breath, and your mind re-regulating, becoming easeful and still, can you feel a sense of appreciative joy for your own capacity to come into stillness, to recognize your own resilience and your own capacity to recover? And then when you feel rebalanced, you can bring your arms to your sides on the floor. Bend your knees and bring your feet mat width apart. This last movement will be very gentle. We do this often. This is our windshield wiper movement. You'll exhale both legs to one side. Inhale to bring them up. Exhale them to the other side using the rhythm of your breath. Finding the speed that seems appropriate for you in this moment. Finding a compassionate range of motion. And if it feels safe, even closing your eyes here, beginning your journey inward. As you invite, in the presence of this gentle movement, your body to reground and resettle. As you invite your breath to become easeful and stable. And then when it feels right to you, you can let go of the motion in the legs. If there is any other movement that wants to emerge from your body before you move yourself into your final resting position, give into that urge with loving kindness, with compassion. Making any last wiggles or adjustments that support the well-being of your body compassionately and lovingly. Maybe noticing whether you need a blanket under your head or a slight lift, a blanket or a towel under your knees. Support your body better. And then invite the body to become very heavy and very still and yet vibrantly alive. Invite the body to let go. Maybe surrendering the weight of your physical being to gravity. And then gently invite the breath to follow the example of the body, becoming easeful and natural. Let go of any sense of moving, controlling, or even watching the breath, surrendering it to the flow of prana, knowing that you will be breathed here. And then invite the mind to become still, not free of thought, but unencumbered by the need to pay attention to the thoughts, to attach to them or chase them away. Just letting be whatever is present. Surrendering the mind to your own inner, deeper wisdom. As you let go, as you release, lovingly, compassionately, perhaps even joyfully, into the equanimity of this moment and this place. Letting go as we move into a few minutes of silence. Gently awaken your senses, becoming aware of the sounds around you. Maybe beginning to notice the air on your skin. Maybe taking in the scents or aromas in your room. And as the senses awaken, gently begin to wiggle your body awake as well, making whatever movements seem intuitive for you in this moment. Maybe small wiggles, maybe big stretches, tuning in to what your body needs. Maybe taking a nice, deep, deliberate breath in and out. You begin to plan your journey to your right side. And when you feel ready to go there, gently roll to your right, either taking a breath or two here, or transitioning to a seat in your own time, at your own pace. And once you have found a seat, maybe your palms rest on your thighs, or maybe the backs of the hands rest on your thighs, or maybe the palms come together at your heart as you bow your head to heart center. And as you draw your attention inward to your heart, your symbol of connection to your greater community, tap into your own capacity for resilience, for equanimity. Tap into the capacity of your heart. The heart that, as we said weeks ago, is ready for anything. And perhaps notice that from this resilience of equanimity and from the capacity of this heart that is ready for anything, you can be in the world with compassion and with loving kindness for all aspects of yourself and your community. And perhaps from that place of knowledge, of wisdom, of heartfulness and mindfulness, appreciative joy will arise. Thank you so much for practicing with me. It's a pleasure and an honor. Take really good care.